need a strong leader, and this is his best possible scenario of win like that. Okay, this is his. I think he could possibly do this. It's gonna be close, but maybe it would end up like something like that, or she might just take both of those, and that would be a tie. It might end up being a tie, but I hope he wins one of these states, or maybe even both of them if he wants to win. Some people said Hillary would win Indiana. Fuck no. Not Missouri. Some people are predicting Georgia. Georgia is not in play. But that's his good map tonight. This is what I'm hoping for. This is what I hope. And I'm 50. I wish I could turn Michigan red, but it's just not gonna go fucking red. Why are people so goddamn ignorant? And I'm gonna try to expose some of the Illuminati in here, because it's all bullshit. It's all rigged. It's all controlled. All the establishment wants is the media. They want more Bushes and more Clintons and more of this and more of that. They want status quo. You know what? I rather prefer George W. Bush instead of Al Gore. But you know what? The establishment didn't want Al Gore. They wanted George Bush. They purposely gave him Florida because Al Gore was winning states like Illinois, New York, Pennsylvania, Michigan, California, and a few other blue ones, and Florida went for him too. But they decided, we want the Bush family to go back in. We don't want Gore. Okay? So Ronald Reagan picks George Herbert Walker Bush as his vice president. And he serves in there for 8 years for Ronald Reagan. He ran for president against Reagan, then Reagan picked him as vice president. And then he ran again in 1988. He had one term, and this is when the Clintons came in. Bill Clinton won 2 terms. And then in 2000, they handed the election. I'm a conservative, okay? And most time, if you might think I'm a liberal if I'm defending Al Gore over George W. Bush. You know what? I don't care about Al Gore. I don't care about George Bush. I don't care about any of them. I dislike them both. But they weren't fair to. I'm a strict conservative. I'm just not a Republican or Democrat. I don't choose party. I'm a strict conservative. The election was handed to George W. Bush because they wanted more Bushes and Clintons in the White House. Okay? The 2000 election is rigged. So is the 2016. They're gonna give it to Hillary, guys. Trump still has a chance. But if Hillary wins, it's rigged. Because most people in America, I would prefer much rather like Trump. But he is not a racist. He wants to build a wall, make America great again, protect our Second Amendment, get rid of Common Core, take care of health care, negotiate better deals, bring jobs back, take manufacturing overseas, all this good stuff. And he wants to build a wall to keep the illegal immigrants out. Rigged election. It's rigged. It's rigged, alright. I'm gonna look up Skull and Bones. This is what the establishment, the mainstream media does not want you to hear this. They want this private as could be. It's a 3-3-2, and Skull and Bones members. And I'm tired of these establishment people coming in as Bushes and Clintons. If we elect Hillary Clinton, we already had 1 term of George Bush Sr., 2 terms of Bill Clinton, 2 terms of George Bush Jr. Do we honestly really need another Bush or Clinton? Enough is enough. Skull and Bones entry in 1948 from Yale Boehner, former United States President George Herbert Walker Bush, listed 4 down. Skull and Bone Society, Yale University, was founded in 1832 until 1971, and published a membership with the Roosters, where they kept at Yale's library. It's a place in Massachusetts, and it's very, very hidden because they do not want you to see this. That is Illuminati. That is big business control. That's all of them. There's that evil person, George Bush Sr. And they want to keep this personal as fuck. And if I wish Trump would have brought up Skull and Bones in the debate stage, and Jeff would be like, oh no, I will try to expose as much of Skull and Bones as possible. I will try to expose everything about this place. I will make sure it's down on here good. There's John Kerry and George W. Bush. Enough Bushes and Clintons. So this is all the elections we had. George Bush versus Michael Dukakis. George Bush versus Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton versus Bob Dole. George Bush versus Al Gore. George Bush versus John Kerry. And now it's Hillary Clinton versus Donald Trump. We keep having elections with Bushes and Clintons in it. Enough. And I'll tell you right now, they have Prescott Skull in there, or an Indian guys, because they're going to keep this secret. And I'm going to look up Bush ancestors. I'm going to show you Bush's ancestors if you don't believe me. So, we're going to, Reynold Bush. 1587. And his wife is Isabella. They were in England, I think. George W. Bush and his father, that is part of the New World Order, was part of this. And what's Hillary Clinton thinking? Oh, my husband was president and his friend's father and son was president, now I'm president? What? So this is Reynold Bush, born in 1587. This is Reynold Bush. Well, he's a son. This is his son. Well, it's not Reynold Bush. There's the son, Reynold Bush Jr. The wife, Isabella Bush Hall. There's John Bush, his son. There's John Bush, born on January 22nd, January 20th, 1593, died on November 1st, 1663. And there's his family members. His wife, Grace Palmer Saunders, his son, Jonathan Bush Sr., Edward Bush, George Bush, not that Bush, but Samuel Bush, Reynold Bush, James Bush, his mother, Isabella Bush Hall, his son, and his daughter, Deborah Macklin Bush. Her husband, Macklin, was, I think, part of the military, if I'm not mistaken. Let me just go on here real quick. I'm just kind of interested to see what this is all about. And then her mother, Grace, and her brother, Samuel Bush. But we are going to track down this Illuminati family that's been going on since the 1500s. John Bush. And this is all his family members. His son, Samuel Bush. So his grandfather. Wait, was it great or grandfather? His grandfather was Reynold Bush. So his grandfather was Reynold Bush. We found your grandfather, and this was something of his written. I don't know. He was born on May 14th, 1647. Died on May 7th, 1733. Mary Bush, his daughter. Abigail Bush, his wife. Samuel Bush Jr., his son. Sarah Bush. David Bush. Abigail Clark. John Bush, that was his dad. His dad was Reynold. So Reynold's great-grandson would be Richard Bush. Richard is Reynolds' great-grandson. He was born in Secra, wherever that is, 1695, died September 27th in Bristol, Rhode Island, USA. So his son, Timothy Bush. Timothy Bush's great-great-grandpa, Reynold Bush. Great-great-grandson, Reynold Bush. He was born in 1728 and died in Rhode Island, just like his father. Shows his son, Timothy Bush Jr., his wife, Deborah Bush, his mom, Mary Bush, and his sister, Abigail Bush, and Richard Bush. But his son, Timothy Bush Jr., his great-great-grandson of Reynold Bush. But I think you get the point. That's his son. Born on April 1st. He died on May 1st in New York. Rochester, New York. Monroe, New York. And then there his Obadiah Bush was Timothy Bush's junior son. There's his son, Timothy Bush, Linda Bush. There's his father, Timothy. Hey, grandson, what's up? Granddad, but there's Obadiah Bush. His birth date was 1797. He was born on January 20th, 1797. He died in February 9th, 1851 on a trip to California. There's James Smith Bush. Now he's getting more relevant. He is Prescott Bush's grandfather. Born June 15th, 1825. They all died near New York, California, or Rhode Island. And his son was Samuel P. Bush, a member of Skull and Bones. He was probably the earliest member of Skull and Bones, the ancestry tree. He's more relevant. He's George Bush Sr.'s grandfather and George Bush Jr.'s great-grandfather. His son Prescott and him went there. He probably took Prescott there as a kid. That's like me. If I was George Bush Sr., this would be my grandpa. There he is. I'm trying to click on him. Samuel P. Bush, come on. Finally. Probably doesn't want to be exposed. That's why it's taking so long. He was a part of Skull and Bones. Born October 4th, 1863, died February 8th, 1948 in Columbus, Franklin, Concord, in Ohio. Now this is where it starts to get interesting, one's more relevant. His son was Prescott Bush, a United States Senator. He's probably Ronald Bush's sixth great-grandson. Great-great-great-great-great-great-grandson. Or another great, maybe, I don't know. There he is, born May 15th, 1895, birthplace Franklin, Ohio. He died in New York on October 8th, 1972. If he was still alive today, might be the oldest person. He'd probably be like in his 120s. And there's his son, the New World Order. There's George Herbert Walker Bush, everybody. My son did 9/11, and I'm part of the New World Order. He's still alive to this day. He's 92 years old. Also known as Pappy. Born in Houston, Texas. Hey, I like Texas, not testicles. And he's still alive today. There's Barbara Bush. There's Jeb. Donald Trump said something mean to me. There's Dorothy Weir Bush. And there's his Pauline Bush. That's one of Bush's. Marvin Bush has got to be on here. There's George W. Bush. Also a member of Skull and Bones. It's like his dad, grandpa, and great-grandpa. See how they can be tracked down to the 1500s? And I don't know if I could find Ronald Bush's father. I tried to find it, but you can show his wife, his cousins, everything. He's age 70. And there's his daughter, Jenna Hager Bush. She is 34 and she lives in Dallas, Texas. A minor child that's going to her child. Ira Reynolds' great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-grandchild. That's her child. Minor child. And another minor child. Her mother, Laura Bush, and her sister, Barbara Pierce Bush. All the females have the middle name Pierce, and the males have Walker in the Bush dynasty. Okay, but the thing is, I can trace down the Bush family better than I can the Washington's family. George Washington's ancestors. Because that's sad. When you can trace someone from right now to the modern day to their ancestors way back then, that's sad. He was 6'2" and weighed 200 pounds. He was born in February 22nd, 1932, died December 14th, 1799, at the age of 67. That's a pretty young ass age to die. I would like to live to 105, honestly. Go to heaven, and I won't see you bitches there. Well, maybe you, nigga, you cool, but I don't know. that's all. I'm exposing the Illuminati and the election because there's so much to see, and the media and the press does not want you to think this is real. Well, guys, I'm telling you it is real. Closing out with Ryan Forensic. Bye-bye.